Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to a gameplay video. I know what you're thinking, I'm so sorry, please don't switch off. No, I wanted to do this because it's been something I've been thinking about for the last few years, to be honest. Something I wanted to ask you guys, and also because I didn't have a video planned for Wednesday, and so I thought I would do a gameplay video. But that bit's not important. I wanted to talk about whether first-person shooters are getting boring. Now, for the last few years, I've mostly been playing games like Titanfall, I've been playing games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and then a few more story-based first-person shooters, so things like Dishonored, Dishonored 2, things like that. And while story games are obviously limited by their story, more so than games that are purely multiplayer-based, so things like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Titanfall, Counter-Strike, all of those things, of course, are multiplayer only, and so the gameplay needs to be tight, they need to keep you entertained for a long period of time, and they need to have a progression system that actually keeps you going and keeps you amused. But the common thing between all first-person shooters, for me at least at the moment, is just how familiar they're feeling and how I'm getting less satisfaction from every game I play. I remember I was absolutely hooked on the original Call of Duty World at War. I think I played that game for about 10 days worth. Over a year, it was pretty much the only game I played, whereas now I sort of tend to play first-person shooters between 20 and 50 hours depending on how much I like the title, and don't really touch it any more than that. Now, the latest iteration of Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, doesn't run very well on PC. It's got a few annoying bugs. Things like it running capped at 91 frames a second is frankly unacceptable for such a AAA title when Black Ops 3 did not have that. I played an awful lot of Black Ops 3. It's a decent enough game, but it doesn't, to me, feel like a step forward in any way. And it just feels like a game that's almost lost its identity a little bit. And the reason I sort of have that feeling is just because I feel like they've tried to make their game stand out now. It's not necessarily acceptable to just be another Call of Duty game. They've got to have some things to maybe put on the posters, and some things that they've got to say, look, this game's got this new feature. Which is a difficult position to be put in, because for me the game just feels like they've added stuff just for the sake of adding it. And unlike Titanfall, let's say, where you've got all these cool jetpacks and you can fly around the map, they're big maps and it makes sense. Whereas here it just doesn't really feel like it fits in. And it's a shame, because to be honest, I don't know what Call of Duty needs to do to make a better game. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's something that has been shared, I think, by a lot of people, and it's not necessarily that people are not looking forward to and not wanting to play Call of Duty. It just feels like they've just got a little bit lost, and it's not actually that much of a fun game anymore, which is a big shame, and it is definitely something I would like to see changed. Now, moving over to perhaps the most popular game of last year for many people, Battlefield 1, the first-person shooter taking place in World War I. And this was a big change for the series. We've pretty much seen a lot of changes, to be fair, throughout the Battlefield series. Every single new game, with the exception of maybe Battlefield 4, has brought with it something completely new. And people didn't want Battlefield 5. People wanted something that was a big change, and that is exactly what this game is. And the trailers made it look awesome, and to be honest, actually, I think that it was one of the games that did deliver the most when you looked at the marketing material. Pretty much everything has been put in the game that they said was going to be there, and it's very, very well done. It's well executed, it's a technical masterpiece, it looks great, the gameplay is pretty tight, and despite all of this, every single time I play the game, I can't help but think I would rather play Battlefield 4. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, in some ways that's probably a good thing for EA, that their game can sit quite nicely alongside Battlefield 4, and I know there are still plenty of people playing Battlefield 4 because they're different games. They're not trying to be the same thing. It's not like moving from 3 to 4 when you might be like, well, what's the point of playing 3 when 4 is better than 3? It's not like that. The two can sit side by side. But again, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe it's the actual personal upgrade system and how reliant it is now on things like battle packs. But I don't know, I never really quite feel rewarded for my game. I mean, you get items awarded randomly in battle packs at the end of the game. You can get new guns, you can upgrade new guns, but I never really feel that immersed really in my soldier, and I just always feel a little bit lost playing the game. I think it just comes down to the fact that maybe I don't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. Yes, when you're playing well, when you're getting headshots across the map, it's incredibly satisfactory, but I don't know. I think maybe I'd overhyped it for myself, but I'm not disappointed in the game, but maybe just disappointed in myself that I'm not enjoying it as much as I had hoped. But it's not all doom and gloom, because there has been one game I really have been enjoying and I think really does push the boat out in terms of first-person shooters. And that is Titanfall 2, a game that went under the radar for most. I did get a review copy of this late last year, but again, unfortunately didn't do a review of it, which I think probably should have done because it has gone under the radar for so many people, and maybe that's just not just. Now, the game is very similar to the original, but the mechanics have been tightened up. There have been a few major changes really, and the whole thing feels incredibly well balanced, and it just feels nice to play really. The smart pistol has been altered in the sense that it's not a primary weapon anymore, you have to unlock it, which I know was something that a lot of people didn't like about the original. It was quite a cool idea, but it did make it a little bit easier, or quite a lot easier to get some kills. But it's definitely a game that I've been really enjoying, and a game that I find very, very fun to play. It's not without problems though. I think there are enough maps, but just about. I prefer to see a few new maps put in there, because it does feel like games can get very, very similar, and the level of progression, that you can get a decent loadout early on, but I'm not really sure it's fair to say that you feel rewarded at the end of games. I like the fact that you sort of unlock new equipment in a slightly different way. It's not done on XP, and except it kind of is, but it's mainly really skins and things like that towards the end of the game that you start unlocking. And to be honest, while I like the fact you can customize your Titan, that's not really enough for me. I'd prefer to have something else that actually keeps me going, something that I can sort of look to and work towards, and I don't really have that in this. But having said that, I have been playing a lot of it because I've been enjoying it so much. But again, it's not necessarily a game that I say, oh, I want to sit down and play Titanfall, but then get lost in it for hours. I'm quite happy to sort of sit down and play half an hour, 45 minutes, whereas in some other games I feel you get that sort of, oh, just one more game, whereas you don't quite get that here. But if you haven't already checked it out, I would advise doing so. But the title of this video, are first-person shooters getting boring? That's the question I want to put to you. I've been playing a lot of first-person shooters over the last few years, and that may well be why I feel like they are getting a bit boring. But I'd love to know your thoughts, so do let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know if you like this style of video and want to see more of them. As I say, regular content will resume. We're so close to me finishing uni now. Really, we're about 2.5 months off, which is crazy. And then I'll be producing 4 or 5 videos a week for you guys. And to say I'm excited is a massive understatement. I've made a few changes on the channel over the last couple of weeks, and they seem to be working. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, let me know. If you don't, then again, let me know. Let me know what you're playing at the moment and whether you think first-person shooters are getting a little bit tired. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.